Williams darts. I love this back glass. Look at these. I've never seen ladies like that playing darts anywhere though. You can see it's kind of wood reel-esque in that it has no score reels. It's light box scoring, lighted scoring. Also, check out the funky cabinet. It has this really nice drink shelf in the front right here to set your beer. Nice playfield art too. Again, those pretty ladies. So there's no power switch on this, so to start the game you just hit the credit button. And you can hear it, it's trying to reset back there, but it can't find its way home. Here's the back box. Just kind of looking at things. You can see that things are just kind of gummed up. That should return, it really doesn't. This guy right here, this is the main scoring stepper. It doesn't want to come back so much. A little bit. It's a little gummy. A little gummy, not too bad. And then over here, a lot of gummy. First step, I took this lever off here. Took this guy off. And then this guy's gummed up. Take this off, if I can get it off and clean it up. So since I have the two arms off, I loosen up the one screw on the switch and swing the blade out of the way. I count off the clock spring, which was 3 turns on this clock spring, which was attached up here. Count that off, 3 springs. Then I take the unit down like this, undo the nut here, and then I can remove this. It's nice to remember where to put it. Notice they put a little red tab here that mates with that. Factory did that. Now I can clean this area nicely, but more importantly, I can pull the shaft out. See, I got the 2 arms off, and I got the switch here bent out of the way. I just undid the one screw and just rotated out, and I can just pull this whole thing out like this and clean the shaft and relubricate with Teflon gel lube so this thing rotates real nice and birdy. I got it all put back together. Now it advances nice and resets good. Now what's interesting is that when you press the start button on the front of the game, as in any typical wood rail, this is a 100,000 unit, it resets it. And then when this switch closes, then it goes down to the 10,000 stepper and it finds the home. Now this is a continuous, there's no reset, so this one is just going to keep spinning until it finds home, and we've got to go through this unit next. These 2 units, the 100,000 and the 10,000, have to be working pretty much perfectly or the game will not reset properly and won't score right. So the main problem on this guy was this pivot point and this pivot point and this pivot point. Now he moves real nice because this is an easy unit to work on because there's no reset, it's just a continuous. Notice the reset coil would be up here. It's not utilized at all. The match was also like that too, very similar, where the pivot points here, here, and here were all gummed up. So now that guy's working good. So now we got all the steppers in the back box working. I'm not going to worry about the credit unit. I'm just setting it on free play by making sure that this switch is permanently closed. But even though it's gummed up, as you can clearly see, it's the least of my problems right now. Let's get the game working and then we can come and revisit that. Next, I'm going to check these relays down here. These are the 10,000 and the 100,000 relays. We've talked about this before, where to adjust them, you don't bend the switch blades, you undo these 2 screws, and basically this big brass guy moves up and down, and you can change the gap between the spring-loaded moving piece here and the stationary thing here. So I'm going to check those right now. Now we're going to go into the bottom board. There isn't a lot on the bottom board. I check all the adjustment of the switches on the score motor, make sure that they're gapped nicely. I checked all the adjustment on these relays here. You have to take this metal identifier plate off in order to get at them. The relay bank under here is for the darts. Usually don't mess too much with that. Those are usually pretty good, and sometimes you get yourself into more trouble than not monkeying with them. Here's the trough where the balls sit. And you can see that somebody did a little modification here, basically adding like a power switch, but they don't have it connected, that goes to the lock relay. So what happens when you hit the lock, the game of course comes on, you disable the lock and it goes off. So they just added a switch on that so they could turn the game off easily. So now we've gone through the game, let's give it a whirl and see what we got going. So what's happened is the 10,000s is reset to 0, which is where you want it. The millions and the 100,000s has reset. So now the game's ready for play. Load a ball up into the shooter lane, and we can kind of see what it does here. See, pop bumpers, fancy. Kick out holes, score some points, and the game is more or less working. It's filthy, but it's working. And then we got a kick out hole there. So, it wasn't too bad. So you can see I've scored a bunch of darts, the numbers on the playfield. As you score the numbers on the playfield, it lights up the different darts. You know, you're trying to score those. So, you can see now I've got 680,000. I'm on my last ball. I'm going to drain the ball, and it should go into game over on the 5th ball. And it did. Okay, we went to game over. Hey, look, I cleaned up the playfield and threw a few pieces of new rubber on it. Man, what a difference. This thing was just smoking dirty. Alright. Let's load a ball. Play a little bit.